without a shadow of a doubt that you're created on purpose for a purpose. Mindset and money revolution. You have to have a mindset revolution to experience a money revolution. That's when you experience a true wealth revolution.
My name is Chad Free. Welcome to the Wealth Revolution Podcast.
Welcome to the Wealth Revolution Podcast. I believe you're created on purpose for a purpose. This is my dad, Chad Free, and we're here to give you a good word today.
Hey, how about that little curveball? Got my boy here with me. We are both going to chat it up today. I'm not going to interview him. He's not going to interview me. We're going to tag team this, right?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. So, I believe that true wealth is an abundance of everything that you value. And remember that word I just said, an abundance, because that's what we're going to talk about today.
That's right. Let's do it.
Abundance and lack. Right. So check this out. We watched a video. Both of us watched a video the other day of Myron Golden. And I would really encourage you to look him up. He's spot on. And man, he didn't blow my mind. He kind of broke my brain. He broke some things down that,
was good.
Yeah,
For sure.
it was crazy. And so he actually talked about lack being the first temptation, way back?
Yeah.
In the Bible, right?
Yeah. First ever.
Yeah. So what he talked about was that back when God created the heavens and the earth, and then he created Adam and Eve, he actually said, read that for us right there, Jackson. Read that.
In Genesis 2:16 through 17, it says, you may freely eat the fruit of every tree in the garden, except the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. If you eat its fruit, you are sure to die.
All right, so let's unpack that. He said freely, and he said every. Man, that's abundance. That's wide open, right?
Mm-hmm.
Freely and every, except for one tree, just one. I would say that's a sweet deal.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you got all of this, and the garden means that's the protection, right, of God's protection, and Eden means, what was it, pleasure and provision. But every tree and freely from it. And then here comes the enemy, the serpent, and what did he say? What did the serpent say?
Did God really say you may not eat from any tree in the garden?
Genesis 3:1. Okay, so that's the very first temptation. That's the first temptation because he was slick. He said, did he really say you must not? So God said every and freely, and he said not any tree. So his goal was to shift their focus, right?
Yeah, their attention away from all the abundance and on the lack.
So he knew where attention goes, your intention will follow. So he wanted to shift their complete focus off all the abundance and put it on the lack. Understand what we're saying here. What does that do? When you focus on lack, you start comparing yourself to other people.
Wanting to do more than you really can. You just gotta lean on who you are and believe that God has a purpose for you. So, and just trusting in him.
And would you say that a lot of people, I mean, I'll say us as adults, sometimes we compare. I think that's just society. You feel like to be at a certain status, you got to look at your status. You got to look at your belongings, your external wealth and all that. But tell us about kids your age. Is there a lot of pressure to be something that maybe they're not, or to compare to other people? What's that look like?
For sure. You want you want to like have the followers, be famous, be known, like, but like at the end of the day, like there's only one goal in life, and that is to live out your purpose. So it really doesn't matter like if you have like 1,000 followers, or like you have all these TikTok views. Like it don't matter at the end of the day. Like if you live out your purpose and you're doing what God has called you to do, like that's all that really matters at the end of the day.
Right. And so that's so hard for people to grab a hold of, though.
Well,
Because there's faith that's involved.
Yeah.
And so, the devil, he knows that if we can just if he can take your focus off of who God created you to be and put it towards somebody else, then you're constantly going to be on this hamster wheel as a human doing and not literally becoming who God created you to be. Right. So I know one thing, when I kind of developed my signature message, and Jackson, you started out with it, that I believe everybody's created on purpose for a purpose, but people's mindset and their money prevent people from ever pursuing that purpose because they're literally so focused on surviving and comparing and competing with others that it takes their focus off of who God created them to be. Right. So, I like what he said here. What does that say?
Whatever is for me will be for me. Whatever is not for me, I don't want it. I'm one of one.
Yeah. So when you realize that you have no competition, you have no competition. You do in a business sense, understand that, but I'm talking about who you are and who you were created to be. You're one of one. And so whatever you're going to have, you're going to have. And whatever you're not going to have, you shouldn't waste so much energy on it.
Right.
But it's not until you have decided and have that belief system that I think you can literally live that out. Mm-hmm. Because we all want to be, better and better and better and better. So, speaking of TikTok, that TikTok reel that you did, Caden, how many views that get? Like 50,000 almost? Yeah, like 50K. So talk about that one more time. Talk about that, why you don't worry and why, because I think it fits in with what we're saying.
Yeah, for sure. There's like no reason to be nervous about anything. Like if you're going into a game or like just anything in life, because like you already have a plan and it's going to happen either way if you don't want it to happen or not. But it's already planned out because God has a plan for you and your purpose is already like drawn out at the end of the day. So,
but I think it does. So it takes action though. And if we think about this, our pastor talked about this, God will do all the work, right? But we are his resource. We are his workmanship. He does his work through us. So really we have to make ourselves available, mm-hmm. right? And so
you have to be willing.
Yeah, that's right. So if we really understand that, then Matthew 6:33 says, "Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things will be added." So we got to trust and know that the provision's going to be there, the protection is going to be there. How much more can you? I mean, you truly can live life to the fullest mm-hmm. when you have that mentality, right?
It comes with a lot of faith.
A lot of faith. Yeah. So what we're talking about is super simple, but yet it's probably the hardest thing to take action on, right?
Because you can say it, but like if you gotta really, really believe it at the end of the day.
Yeah, and look, I'll be honest with you. We're sitting here sharing this with you, but I'm sure you struggle with things, mm-hmm. right? I struggle with things. I know my wife, she helps me become stronger in areas that I'm weak in because she kind of hey, it's going to be all right. Everything's going to be okay. So we're not here trying to pretend like we're better than anybody. We're just telling you what we've experienced and really the goodness of God and seeing him work in our life. You know, something else that he talked about was, you know, how we kind of buy into the identity, you know, and that's, we buy into the lack, we buy into the labels of what people label us as, you know. Go ahead, I'll give you permission to do a short joke on me. I mean, I could say, well, I'm too short, right? Huh? Say, go ahead. You do it all the time. Once he surpassed me, he looks down on me and like, okay, Dad, how is it down there? But anyway, I could live in that victim mode and say, well, I can't do that because I'm short, right? And a lot of us tend to take on the labels that society puts on us.
Right.
And then what does that do? We don't like that. We get to a point that we don't like that, and then we do this. We create our
start competing, comparing ourselves to others.
Yeah, and Myron Golden talked about, he called that the my identity. So that's really a manufactured identity of really trying to be somebody that we're not.
Right.
And I used to joke around, and you heard this a lot, you know, hey, I'm faking it till I make it. I fake it till I make it, right? That right there, as long as it's a joke, that is all fun and games, but a lot of people do fake it till they make it. And I think that is so, that's the most damaging thing ever. When you're trying to fit in, but yet you're called to stand out. Don't fake it till you make it. Be who you are, and know whose you are, right? So really, it's your identity. And so Caden and I were talking before you got here. So Moses asked God, remember the burning bush? He said, you know, go tell Pharaoh to let my people go. Mm-hmm. Who was it that was going to, who am I supposed to say sent me?
I am.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So I am sent me, right? So you have to be, now think about this. I didn't realize this until I saw the video. We got to be careful what we label ourselves. I am just me. I am not this. I'm not that. I'm not smart enough. I'm not talented enough. That literally is emptying out who God is from his name. And you can't do that. You can't say that. You can't afford to empty out God's power from his name. So you better be saying, I am worthy. I am powerful. Mm-hmm. I am created on purpose for a purpose. You know, it's just those, again, it's going from lack to abundance.
Yep.
So have you ever seen anybody like struggle? Let's say they I mean, you played football, you played baseball. Have you ever seen anybody just really get down on themselves and, you know, just kind of feel like they're not worthy if they didn't make a team or if they don't get playing time? Do you see people like that ever?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's not natural to do it. Well, I mean, I guess you could say it's natural to do it because, like, going back to what we were talking about comparing, like, that's a natural thing to do. So if I make a team and somebody else don't make a team, they're like, well, I thought I was just as good as him, so why shouldn't I make it? But I mean, it's just kind of goes back to the comparing factor. You just can't. You're one of one, so you can't compare. Like Michael Jordan didn't make his team in high school, something like that.
Yeah, I think so. And I think that's right.
So it kind of just goes back to that.
Yeah, and you just don't give up. You know, I mentioned this. I think we got a reel on this of what Tim Story said. You know, everybody's going to have setbacks, but you might sit in the setback, but don't ever settle in it, because if you settle in the setback, then you will be cemented in the setback. And now you've created a whole identity, and that's the lie identity. You know what I mean? That's the lie identity. And so, if you think about this, and we talk about the wealth revolution, truly is wealth built from the inside out. That is just your light shining, living freely, knowing who you are. And that just gives you all the confidence in the world, because you know who you belong to. But wherever you're trying to get to, either you'll get there by becoming who you were created to be, or you won't get to the promises of God by not being or yielding who God created you to be. So I guess what I'm saying is Proverbs 19:21. I say it a lot. We have many plans, but God's purpose will prevail. So we really need to yield to his plan in the first place. And that is where we can really experience, his promises, right? So we got to go through the fire. We got to get buried. A lot of times, I heard this one saying one time, the potter and the clay. You've got the clay, and I probably will mess this up, but it starts to take form, right? But then all of a sudden, you get water poured all over it. So just imagine that. I mean, you're just getting water poured, like you're getting dunked.
Mm-hmm.
You're drowning and all of that. And then finally you start taking shape again. And then toward the end, they take that piece and they have to put it in the oven. It's got to go through fire. Right when they thought they were done. Finally, I've taken on my shape. I'm where I'm supposed to be. Then it's put in the fire and it's heated up, and it's just a process, right? So I know I see you, and I brag on you a lot, but I see you working. You're always wanting to get better. You work when nobody's watching. When it snowed the other day, I didn't know where you were, and you're out here. You got the net set up in the snow. You got cones set up, and you're doing speed and agility and throwing the ball, making passes. Why you do that?
Just trying to have fun in the snow. Trying to play in the snow.
Trying to play in the snow?
Yeah.
I hear you. But I mean,
no, I just want to be the best I can be at everything I do. So, and I guess I keep saying it, but comparing myself to others, I just want to be the best I can be at everything and be my own person.
That's awesome. So you didn't say the best there is. You said the best person that you can be.
Yeah.
And there's a lesson right there. You don't have to be the best. You be your best. Right? And if we're not trying to be that best, I think we're actually retracting instead of making progress. So I think we always grow. I remember people saying at the church we used to go to, it's okay to not be okay, but it's not okay to stay that way, right? So going back, as we start to close, a good mentor or coach, which I highly recommend, because sometimes if you are wanting to be your best, sometimes you just don't, you can't see your own picture when you're stuck inside the frame. Coach Burt taught me that, and that's huge. A lot of people think that, well, I don't want to get a tutor. I don't want to get a mentor or a coach, because guess what? They bought into that lie identity of, well, I'm a loser or whatever, and I need help. Think about all the high performers, they all have coaches because you want to be your best. And, you know, Tiger Woods, he's got a coach. And I bet, I don't even have to see his coach, but I would put money on it that his coach probably can't outplay Tiger Woods. But he can see something, an adjustment that needs to be made, and to make him better. So all of that to say, a good coach, a good mentor, when they tell you something, a really good coach and good mentor, that advice probably ain't going to make any sense. And if it made sense, you'd already be doing it. Right? And you just kind of, again, you kind of just say, okay, well, it is what it is. It is what it is. Well, no, there could be something else out there. And that's with life. That's with, you know, your finances, your money. Everything we do is kind of opposite of what traditional financial planning is. It's not opposite, but it's not mainstream whatsoever. But yeah, you had already done it. So one of the things too, as we close, and just as an encouragement to people and letting people know that, again, opposites sometimes is good because you never thought of it this way. So you always heard what goes up must come
down.
Say it again. What goes up must come
Down.
Right. Well, what if I told you anything good that goes up must go down first? Does that make sense to you right off?
Kind of. A
Kind
little
of?
bit.
Yeah. So let's do this. To build a skyscraper, again, this was I don't think you watched this video. This was another Myron Golden just nugget. To build a skyscraper, you must go down first and have a firm foundation.
Yep.
Right? Man, this stuff's golden. So you got to go down before you can go up and be sustainable and strong. But what about a seed? Does a seed just say, hey, I love being a seed? Or what is a seed? Well, if a seed could talk, what would it want to turn into?
Plant, fruit, something.
A tree.
Grow, yeah.
A tree. Let's just say a tree. All right. Well, any of those things.
Mm-hmm.
But what has to happen? They have to be buried. They have to be buried. They have to go down in the dark, in water, right? Rain. And then as it grows, it's going to be with the elements. But a seed, hey, I want to be a tree. I want to be a tree. I want to be a tree. You can laugh at me later. Don't raise your hand. They have him and Clayton, when I say something corny, they'll just kind of raise their hand. Right? Like, okay, time out. Time out. That's enough. But that's what he was talking about. You know, I want to be a tree. I want to be a tree. I want to be a tree. But first, you must be buried. That's a part of the process. You have to be willing to say, I don't want to be a seed forever. I don't want to stay this way. I must be planted so I can become something different, to grow into something different. Because a seed's purpose was not meant to be a seed forever. Right?
Right.
Come on. Right? Okay, so check this out. So this thing grows up into a tree. It's a nice big old tree, right? And then you got these two eagles that come along. They're flying through the air, and then all of a sudden, you know, the daddy bird looks at the mama bird, the mama bird says, hey, we got a present coming. We about to have some babies. Right. And so daddy bird says, okay, well, there's a tree right there. Right. You see that purpose, man? See all that purpose? Boy, that's good stuff. So they make their home. They make their nest. Don't raise your hand at me, boy. All right. They make their nest in that tree. All right. And then the babies hatch out of those eggs. And then right away, as soon as they can start chirping, they're telling mama, hey, I want to fly. I want to fly. I want to fly. Teach me to fly. Teach me to fly. They want that right now, right now, right now. Here's the deal. Mama says, not yet. Very soon, but not yet. And the next day, the next week, I want to fly, I want to fly, I want to fly, I want to fly. I want to fly, I want to fly. Because they see them flying, but not yet, not yet. Finally, the day comes. Hey, guess what? Today, you will learn to fly. Or tomorrow you will learn to fly. So guess what? It's like Santa Claus coming. You know, you're full of anticipation the night before. You can't hardly sleep because you're excited. Because finally the day has come that you get to fly. And so it takes that one bird, you know, whichever one hatched first. I don't know how they did that, right? And they put the bird on the mama's back, and off they go, and they're flying, and then all of a sudden, mama just flips upside down and throws that baby bird off. Now, do you think that baby bird went up, or do you think it went down?
Down.
And do you think it was scared at all? I mean, mama didn't even say, off you go, right?
Right.
She just did it. And the baby bird's probably screaming and chirping or whatever they do, whatever noise they make, and they're flying and they're freaking out and they're fighting for their life. They don't know what's going on. And right before they hit the bottom, mama comes in and swoops them up back on the back. She takes that baby bird back up to the nest, and the baby bird's like, oh my gosh, I'll never do that again. I'll never do that. I don't want to do that ever again. I don't want to do that. And instilled fear, right? But remember, they were all anxious and excited and anticipating. So now the other baby birds, they don't want to do it. They don't want no part of it. But they did it anyway. And so then they get to that one bird, and the mama does her thing, flips, and the baby's freaking out, and then all of a sudden puts its wings out just in the right space. I can hear it now. Like when you learn how to snow ski, I'm yelling at you, snowplow, snowplow. You didn't listen to me though, but if you just would have, you would have slowed down. I know you just kept on going, but made me nervous wreck. But if you listen to your parents, if you listen to the Father and you're obedient, maybe the eagle, I don't know what they say really, but maybe she said, put your wings out. And the moment that it spreaded the wings, it immediately experienced what it was like to fly. And so that's what I want to end on today. I want to end on, you're going to have to be buried. You're going to go down before you go up to becoming anything substantial anyway. A lot of people, they go up too quick and it just doesn't sustain. You go through things, and to become who you were created to be, there's that process. But you have to trust, and you have to obey, and that's when you truly start experiencing, you know, the promises of God. But you got to be willing. Look at her. How about that? I can't. So my screensaver just came on because it went off, and that definitely wasn't eagles, but that was a mama bird with some other birds. Anyway, the point is, always be willing to know that you're going to go through a process, but shift your focus on abundance because God's got you. God's got you. The script's already written, and it's greater than the script that society has given you. So, man, I talked a lot. Jackson was actually going to be the full-blown host today, but he said, "Nah, you got it." But anything you want to say as we wrap up that pertains to any of this?
I just want to say, just continue to walk in your purpose and don't compare yourself to others. Because remember, you're one of one and you have no competition. So you have your own purpose, and don't let anybody else life determine on what you do or your identity or anything like that. So that's about it.
That's right. Well, man, listen, I always have fun time
Yep.
doing this with you. And people that know me and have seen me speak or whatever, man, and I'm not going to do it right now, but I literally get emotional um, because of the love that I have for my family. And I've always loved them, but I'd never experienced just being present to the fullest until I had my revolution, because I totally was always focused on the next deal coming through. And man, it's I'm focusing now on who God created me to be, and it's all working out. And he probably thinks I'm still a hammerhead of a dad, but I tell you what, I'm being the best hammerhead that I can be, and I'm loving him and Clayton and their mama as best that I can be. So, guys, that's it. Focus on abundance, not lack, because God has the best for you. You just got to open your hands and accept it. We love you. Take care. Bye.